Wow.
True or false? The number one
Stay away
seeds.
from me.
The number one seeds are going to make the Super Bowl. Both of them. True or false?
True.
False.
False.
That's Lions Chiefs.
Yes.
That's
That would
what
be
we're
Lions
going to see. We're going to New Orleans.
I think we see Lions Bills.
We're going to be there
I
for
think it's
pushing the pile.
scripted Super Bowl. The NFL gets the two.
The Lions sent a message that was so strong the other night against the Minnesota Vikings, and it's like that bell tower in Boca Raton. Every hour the church bell rings. The whole league heard the church bell from the Detroit Lions the other night, and they were like, "Oh my God, Ancelotti's back playing out there with a cyborg arm. Dan Campbell's nose is red, and he's spitting dip out the black bottom teeth he's got." The Detroit Lions look like themselves. They look like the team that we feared the whole year. They beat the brakes off that team. Granted, Sam Darnold and the Vikings kind of peed down their leg a little bit. The Lions just handled business. They didn't rest. They didn't rest in San Francisco. They kept it rolling. I think this team is hot, man, and I really could see them running the table. Ben Johnson is that much of an X factor. We talk about offensive creativity and scheme, and they've got it in droves. They've got the offensive line. Jared Goff is cool as a cucumber right now. Jahmyr Gibbs is an absolute problem. And I really like those guys on the back end for the Detroit Lions. They can create turnovers. I see them rolling. I don't even need to talk about the Chiefs.
Here's the thing, though. NFC is one of the strongest playoff cohorts I can remember in terms of top to bottom, 1 to 7. I mean, every team won 11 games.
They're a threat.
Right? It was like every team worries you.
It wouldn't surprise me to see a run by a team on the bottom of that NFC.
Right. That's
like
the thing.
it wouldn't surprise me to
Commanders.
see the Bucs make a run. It wouldn't surprise me to see the Packers make a run. It wouldn't surprise me to see any of the wild card teams make a run.
Well, I'm already got a 2-game lead on you if those are your two teams that you're going to pick, Buccaneers and Packers.
You already put your picks in?
Well, maybe I sent Jack
You
my
didn't put
bracket.
your picks in yet. You
Okay.
wait 15 minutes before the show, which is why your record is so good.
Yeah,
And
we'll see.
on the flip side of things, I think in the AFC, the Chiefs, more likely than not, in my opinion, are going to be facing one of their division rivals in the very first game
They're going to probably play the Chargers.
for the third time.
Yeah.
That's not a great spot to be in my opinion. Trying to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. Well, I guess with the Broncos, not necessarily, but
It's not the same team, though,
but it's, what do you mean?
for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I know it's not the same team, but like just anytime you have to face your division rival 3 times,
I
is
get
a
it.
difficult spot to be in trying to.
My pick before the season was the Packers and the Bills, so I just keep with it. I have to do a playoff bracket. You did one too.
Yeah.
I just keep with it. Look, do I really think the Packers can get on a hot run? Maybe, but not having Alexander worries me because they're a different defense when he's not on the
That
field.
one hurt.
But Eagles are beatable, and if Hurts, we don't know what he's like.
Yeah, that's wild.
Concussion.
Yeah.
And he still hasn't been cleared yet.
Yeah, that's actually
That's
underrated storyline. That
Right.
You better stop the run. You better stop that run.
And so
Tanner McKee.
And so if you're the Packers, they could win that game. If the Packers win that game, let's say the Packers, the Bucks win, and the Rams win, right?
Yeah.
Where do the Packers go? They would go to Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, Packers win no matter what to go to Detroit. They're on the road.
Right. That's right, because they go to Detroit.
Yeah.
They can play. They can play with Detroit. They've showed that.
Yeah.
So I think the Packers can still get on a run. I think it's going to be I think it's too easy to just pin the top 3 in the AFC and the top 2 in the NFC and say those 5 teams are what's going to win. I think we're going to see the whole league has been early in the season was crazy. Then the favorites started winning. Now I think we're going to see crazy a little bit.
It is wild that there's like an independent neurologist that kind of holds the Eagles' playoff chances in the balance, you know? And if he's from like
consultant.
Milwaukee, all of a sudden it's like, oh shit,
Right.
this guy's got a lot on the
Right.
line.
This isn't the first time that we would have seen the starting Eagles quarterback go down in the playoff run and a backup comes in there and leads him to success.
The greatest
Hey-o.
accident in the history of the National Football League.
Chris was on that team when
It's
Carson
the
Wentz
greatest
went
accident.
down,
It's the greatest accident in
and
history.
BDN came in
Dude, I still cannot. He was unbelievable.
unconscious.
The NFC championship and the Super Bowl was some of the best quarterbacking I've ever seen.
But he also in the Falcons game he threw one in the stomach of Keanu Neal and he dropped it. Otherwise the game's a different game. But and it's a great accident for Peterson too because he hasn't done anything since.
He wrote a book,
Yeah.
and then he went to Jacksonville.
So look, I think we're going to see a hot team somewhere get hot. It might be the Bucs. I wish the Bucs had no injuries on the back.
What happens
end.
if the Chiefs get hot?
Well, I think they can too.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to go in Arrowhead or Detroit.
I think
and
we're
win.
going to see the best version, the version of the Kansas City Chiefs that we saw against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Christmas Day, where it was like, all right, let's roll the sleeves up a little bit.
I agree.
We're at the front door of the playoffs. Let's whoop somebody's ass before we take a couple weeks off. That's the Chiefs team, I think, that shows up. And we see an experience oftentimes. Experience is so big.
You know, they're getting their cornerback, and Watson's coming back.
Patrick's ankle will be good.
And then
O-line gets a couple weeks of rest.
Two speed receivers changes the dynamic of the offense. You had Kelsey can't run anymore. We know that, but he knows how to sit down.
He can find those soft spots.
He knows how to find. Hopkins can't run anymore, but he knows how to win 50-50 balls. But you need somebody that can scare. Now they have guys who can scare.
Yeah.
They have speed.
Last time, I'll end with this. Do you guys know the last time the Packers went to the link in the wild card round?
Was it
1998?
It wasn't the 4th and 26 play.
Nope.
No, that was it.
That was
at the vet. That was at the vet.
2010.
Wasn't that at the vet?
That was the Super Bowl year.
Super Bowl year.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You know who was on that team? Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers was. Yeah, a little different team. And Charles Woodson. That was.
Imagine Aaron Rodgers and Ricky Pearsall.
When was the last time
I saw him and Jordy Nelson do it.
Oh, yeah.
He would love Ricky Pearsall.
What was the last what?
When was the last time they went to the link?
2010.
2010.
That's
the year the Packers won the Super Bowl. They were on the road first game against Mike Vick and the Eagles.
Then they went to what?
Then Atlanta. Matt Ryan, coworker.
Yeah.
I think Matt Nagy was
Chicago.
the quarterback coach.
Was he?
Or he was on that staff with Vic.
All right. Will Sam Darnold, next topic, play himself into a huge contract and rebound from week 18? It is wild that he has, I mean, I know he's made a ton of money and it's not like he's going to be financially hurting one way or the other, but I mean, legitimately probably a $30 million swing based off of what he does in the playoffs.
Shit your pants one time, you're a pants shitter.
Yeah, right. If he doesn't show up after week 18 and then just poops the bed against the Rams, his contract goes from $40+ million a year to maybe like $20 million.
Don't let Stafford come out there and sun you like that. Take all your bread.
But if he plays, like, throws for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns and they lose, he's going to get the contract.
That he will.
Yes.
But if he throws for 180 and 2 picks and they lose, he's got a problem.
He will. He's got a nice little $30 million probably riding on his performance. And honestly, like you said, once the pants shitter, always a pants shitter.
Yeah, dude.
I don't trust the guy's mental after what I saw in week 18.
No, I don't either.
That was not good. You could say all you want about the Lions' defensive performance, and they played a big factor in it.
There were guys that were open.
Guys that were wide open.
Yep.
Not just guys.
He missed that he didn't
The
see
guy.
that he passed down.
The guy.
Right.
Justin Jefferson, Jordan
Right.
Addison.
Right. And here's the other thing is
You'll be hearing from my lawyer. I saw you touch me.
I think their offensive line averages as they come, the Vikings.
I agree.
You know,
Our guy Cam Robinson getting beat up out there.
He's always been a little overrated over there. And then the right tackle's a good player, but the inside guys, I mock Rick Spielman all the time. I said, you drafted a center who's my size. I mean, you know, well, that's what they wanted because Zimmer ran that scheme that, they wanted the smallish center, but that guy gets beat.
Someone that's Stefanski. They drafted him. That's Stefanski.
No, that was with.
I think Stefanski likes big old hogs, dude.
What's his name?
Well, he likes small centers.
Kubiak.
Okay, with Kubiak, yeah.
I just think about that O-line. They're all just athletic big hogs.
But they drafted They drafted the Washington center who was tiny for Cleveland. I can't remember. Started for a while. All right, next topic.
I'm trying to think of the name. Pochich?
No. Oh gosh.
That's LSU, right?
Why am I blanking?
But they drafted. But I mean, in the right guard's not very good in Minnesota. The left guard, Blake Brendel's just their guys, right? I mean, they're
Nick
guys.
Harris. That's who I was thinking of.
Nick Harris.
But that's why Kevin O'Connell and an offensive identity and scheme matters so much. Covers up so much.
Not having Darisaw is enormous for them.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's why I was surprised when they just wanted to cobble it together. But obviously, when you're
Making
on the
a run.
precipice of the 1 seed, Kwesi was probably correct in that assessment. All right, finish this sentence. Blank should start a QB for the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Ravens. I know Pete's going.
Justin Fields.
I still think you got to start Russell. I don't think he's very good, but I think
Give me the why.
Because big moment, you can't just throw Fields. Now, would I put Fields in packages? Absolutely.
I can't stand packages. I say give me all or nothing. Give me Russell Wilson with give me Russell Wilson with a well-dosed George Pickens.
What are we putting him on today?
But normally I would agree.
Or because if you can't count on George Pickens, your moonball offense is non-existent.
Right.
And when you have a guy like Justin Fields, it opens up so much for your offense in terms of his athletic ability, his toughness, his competitiveness. I've seen it happen in Chicago before. The guy can take you on a bit of a run. Granted, they didn't win a ton of football games. That style of quarterback play. We talked about Bo Nix getting the green light in the playoffs. He's probably going to run a little bit more. Jaden Daniels to me becomes even more dangerous because we're here now. Take off the bubble wrap. We're going to go play some football. Justin Fields is that kind of player. And
so you would start Justin Fields.
I would start Justin Fields.
Would you? I wouldn't.
I just don't think it matters, honestly.
You're going to get beat. You're going to get beat in this game.
They're going to play them closer than you think.
You're going to get beat in this game. Play Justin Fields.
What's the big picture plans for the Steelers? What is your plan at quarterback?
To go 9-8 or 10-7 every year.
Every year.
And never win
and walk right into the Hall of Fame.
What was the last time they won a playoff game?
Well, was I telling you this yesterday? I was telling someone. They're like the early 2000s Colts, where everyone's like, why is Peyton Manning's playoff record stink? Well, it's because those teams shouldn't have been playoff teams. That's the Steelers right now, is that they've cobbled together ever since, what was it, like 2016 or so. They had a great roster. They had a great O-line. They had Antonio Brown. They had Ben Roethlisberger. That team should have been in AFC championships winning. That was when it was like, okay, that team should have been, what's the real deal? Now it's like they back into the playoffs, shouldn't have been there. The fact that they lose every year is not an indictment of Mike Tomlin. It's an indictment of what they built from that roster perspective.
When we talk about the Steelers, what does the Steelers team do well?
Rush the pass.
With what?
Cam Hayward.
Yeah,
they have a number of guys.
But they're not great against the run.
I saw Preston Smith get home the other day.
They're not good on the offensive line.
True.
They don't run the ball very well.
They were good at moonballs when George Pickens was about it.
Minka Fitzpatrick's going to the Pro Bowl and had no earthly idea why he hadn't come close to playing. The corners are just okay.
Reputation award.
It's just they're not very good. And so where they're at is interesting. And having said all that about the Steelers, I still think they're going to go in and compete with the Ravens this week.
They'll compete even more if they play with Justin Fields. Give it to Justin Fields.
What you said, third division game.
It's
tough.
Justin Fields is a horse. Go ride the horse, because the other horse you were riding, George Pickens, was AWOL.
By the way, I don't like. I'm with you. I don't like packages normally because if that tells you don't have a quarterback. But in this scenario, I think I would use it because you can't just throw him in a playoff game and say go ahead.
Well, then put Justin in and have Russell packages.
Have pass back.
Whatever you want.
Third downs. Russ gets third downs.
But don't spell the starting quarterback for somebody else.
So he can throw a moon ball up.
All right. Which dog this week has the best chance of pulling off the upset? The dogs this week. And I'm not going to go by seeding because obviously I think the 4-5s, both of the 5s are favored. So the dogs are the Rams, the Commanders, the Packers, the Broncos, the Steelers, and the Texans. Which dog is the best chance?
I think it's the Rams.
Interesting.
I think it's the Rams at home.
I could totally see that happening. But the way I see Jaden Daniels rolling into the playoffs for the first time.
He didn't look great week 18. But I know
what we talked about was the thing that made Bo Nix so dangerous at the end, not only was his efficiency, but his ability to be mobile, threaten the second and third levels of the defense to come up and protect run because he can run with the football. Jaden Daniels, I'm sure in his ear, the entire year, Cliff Kingsbury's been like, throw the ball, get down, get out of bounds. We're in the playoffs now. So, and nobody expects us to make a run. So do what you have to do as a superhuman quarterback to go get us the win. I think Jaden Daniels is going to put the team on his back in round one.
I think that game's going to be high scoring, by the way.
Yeah, it's going to get loose.
Very loose.
I love it. I mean, and I loved what Baker Mayfield and the Bucs did to get Mike Evans' record in a gotta-have-it situation. And I know there's a lot of coaches that hated it.
Was it Alante Taylor? Is that who it was? I think he let him have it.
I think they did too. They knew what was going on.
That's a little bit of Strahan
gamesmanship.
A little bit of Strahan Favre in that scenario.
You immediately know.
We're gonna get Jerry Rice saying, "I need that. I need my record back."
That was.
If you see him, if you watch the play, he kind of. If you watch the play, he kind of does one of these.
Jerry's gonna show up with a copper fit outfit on, wanting to fight Mike Evans. Like, I need my record back.
Who's yours?
Commanders.
Yeah, you're both on the.
Yeah, let's go.
I mean, they're just like, I think those are even. Shoot, I mean, the Commanders had a better record this year. Yeah, I know it's on the road, but Commanders to me is the one.
Think that you guys don't think the Rams can beat the Vikings?
I
think
do.
so.
I do.
I think there's a lot of live dogs.
Yeah, I do too. I think there's a lot.
Unless they got Darnold a fresh set of Huggies.
I'm very excited. I mean, it's
I give you a
good.
little hint for our pick show. I think the dogs are barking this week.
The
I
dogs
even
are
think-
barking.
I even think the Broncos keep it close against
I
the
do
Bills.
too.
I don't know. 8.5's a lot for a
It's a
playoff
lot.
game.
Dogs are barking.
Bills have been losing for like 7 out of the last 8 quarters they've played.
Yeah, and their defense
Don't-
did
please
not
don't-
walk in the playoffs.
Don't count the last game.
I'm counting the last 2 games, buddy.
Come on.
All right.
3 games.
Which
the Patriots, and then who did they beat in
Patriots.
17?
It was the Patriots, then 2 sandwich games because they had the Patriots in a sandwich, and then they had who did they play in the middle there?
But all I'm saying is
Jets.
they weren't winning that much of the
It was the Jets.
Patriots ones.
Which under the radar? Yeah, they blew out the Jets. Which under the radar player will have a game-changing performance in the wild card round?
Underperforming?
Under the radar. Player.
Oh, under the radar.
I think, I don't know if this is under the radar, but it's something that his position isn't really lauded for. I think Kyron Williams will have an epic day of pass blocking against the Minnesota Vikings.
He has to.
I think that
they're bringing him.
first and foremost, Kyron Williams, if you watch the show, I'm an O-lineman. I bleeping love what you do protecting your quarterback. And you of all people know that with this matchup, you're going to get exotic looks. Sometimes you're going to have to block 1.5 guys. But when you get those opportunities to get one guy, you make them pay and you make them blink when they come after that old quarterback of yours. Can't wait to watch you have an awesome performance.
I'm going to go to a guy that I thought was going to have a monster season this year and didn't.
Don't get
Exactly.
I knew where that was going.
He pressed the Dalton button.
Yeah. Dalton Kincaid's going to have a big day. You got to figure Surtain's going to go one-on-one with whoever's in the 4x1. He's going to be over there with them. And I think you're going to have to get the ball to Dalton Kincaid in the middle of the field.
I'm going to go with Edgerrin Cooper of the Green Bay Packers.
He's a beast.
The past 4 weeks against the run, my gosh, that guy,
Violent.
different sort of athlete at the second level of defense. So if they're going to win that game, he has to track down Saquon in space. And honestly, I think
I like it. I like that one. The kid's been phenomenal the last month of the season.
All right, which game?
Not good enough against the Bears, but
Wrap with this. Which game has the highest TV ratings this weekend?
Well, it's usually it'll be a night game.
So the Monday night's Vikings Rams.
No, it'll be the Saturday night game.
Saturday night's Steelers Ravens.
That one.
Yep.
it could have the highest opening population, and then by the end of the first quarter,
Well,
it could
Saturday night is you got to figure. You got to look for the night games.
Yeah.
People are snowed in or whatever because the weather's supposed to be horrible, and it has been horrible. And it's going to get worse.
Where it wasn't since it was 6 inches.
I think it's
when's this one?
That one's Sunday 1 p.m. It ain't
be.
getting
Yeah, that one. If it was a night game, I'm with you. But
If we're talking about
Bills,
fan
Broncos,
bases, I mean Packers Eagles would have the most fan base, but
Yep.
it's Sunday 4:30. That could be that one. Still,
it could be that one. But so the Steelers Ravens.
Steelers Ravens is probably it.
Yeah.
Just because Vikings
Steelers Ravens
Rams
is on Amazon Prime, so you have to watch the game and that pregame show.
Vikings Rams doesn't have the mass fan bases appeal.
So it's up to you.
But it's-
Choose your own adventure.
Who the Vikings Rams?
I'll go with Packers Eagles just to be a homer. But Steelers, I bet Steelers Ravens are Packers.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember there are so many Steeler fans because they won in the 70s, and
Yes,
so everybody's
Steelers fans.
kid has been handed down and everything.
Who will have the most watched last 4 minutes of the game?
That's a good. I like Bucks Commanders.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Probably.
James Daniels gets that ball.
Fireworks, yeah. The Commanders all season. It's every game.